Hey Hunters, Alozu here, back with more D&D 5.5 stuff to look at and see. Today we're looking at the Barbarian. So, not much has changed, just a few things here and there. And as usual, this is subject to change, but currently this is the idea I'm going for with how Barbarian is going to work. So, you're going to notice that rage damage is not listed here, first of all. So this is how... anyway, this is the Barbarian Progression. So that you should notice there has been a change to how rage damage works. It is no longer listed here because of a simple change to how it works. Anyway, you start with 2, get 3 at 4th level, 7 at 7th level gives you 4, 13th level gives you 5, 18th has 6, and then 21st level you get infinite uses, 20th level, as usual. So that didn't change too much. Here we go with level 1. You have your Primal Path, Fighting Style Initiate, because Barbarian now gets fighting styles. Decided to add it just as like it kind of makes sense that you'd be able to have them as Barbarian, especially with some of the stuff you do. So you'll see what they get to use. You have your Rage and Enduring Defense, which is slightly modified unarmored defense. Basically, it's just a slight upgrade to how that works, which could be changed, but it is what it is. 3rd level, Reckless Attack and Danger Sense. Simple enough. 4th level, or 3rd level, you get a Path feature. 4th level, that's when you get ability score increase in a feat, so you don't get anything from here. 5th level, Extra Attack and Fast Movement. And Fast Movement has been nerfed a little bit to just +5 at first, but later you get the +10. 6th level, Path feature, Fighting Style Adept. I believe I actually specified Fighting Style. So we'll just put that here. Every time there's something that gets changed midway through video, or some grammatical changes. 7th level, you have Instinctive Pounce and Feral Instinct. So Instinctive Pounce is back, though I think it ended up working slightly different. 9th level, Brutal Critical is back because 8th level was ASI and feat. So 9th level, Brutal Critical, which is +1, which is just like 1 extra dice. 10th level is Path feature. 11th level, Relentless Rage. 12th level, ASI and feat. 13th level, no longer Brutal Critical. Instead, it is Savage Critical, which, as you can tell, has something to do with criticals, but it's not the same, like, oh, you do more damage with critical hits. And you'll see what that is in a moment. 14th level, you get a Path feature in Fighting Style Master. Simple enough. 15th level, Persistent Rage and Fast Movement for the 10 feet. So this is where you get the full speed bonus. 16th level, ASI and feat. 17th level, Brutal Critical is back at this level, though it's just +2 since you don't have the +3. Since you don't get an additional dice at 13 anymore, this is where you get the +2 dice. To kind of rein it in just a little bit and not make it as ridiculously powerful, but 18th level, Indomitable Might. 19th, ASI and feat. 20th, Path feature and Primal Champion. So, let's actually look at what these do. So, core features on Barbarian. HP pretty much the same as before, just with the universal change of add con score instead of modifier to starting HP, which makes it where your floor is now 20 HP. Though realistically, it's probably going to be 28. 26 to 28 to start. Proficiencies, pretty much unchanged, actually. Still get light, medium, and medium armor plus shields. Simple and martial weapons. No tools. Strength and con saves. And with the skills. Okay. So, you now get an additional skill to pick. And acrobatics has been added to the list. Mostly as just a bonus thing to throw in there. In case you want it for whatever reason. It's there just to kind of add to the list, since you're now picking 3, so they get a slightly bigger list. But the pick 3 is basically to coincide with the idea that you're not going to get the extra proficiencies elsewhere that you previously got. So that was one of the specific things that I changed, is that no, you don't get the additional proficiency later. You start with the extra proficiency, and all the extra proficiency stuff on them is removed, just to rein it in a little bit. But first level, Primal Path. You choose a Primal Path, get it. Also got Fighting Style, which you have the choice of dueling, great weapon, long arm, 2-weapon, protection, defense, blind fighting, or thrown weapon. And keep in mind that last one, which is a slight change to how they work, but basically thrown weapons are a thing you can actually use effectively now. So you have that now, and it's just to kind of add to what you get from this class and kind of be a bit more in line with other martials. First level, you have Rage, which, as a bonus action, you rage for 1 minute, fall unconscious, or end your turn without having taken damage or attack since your last turn, etc., etc. Slight changes here. So first off, the resistances is now worded as all physical damage types, which is basically bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, plus the new bleed damage. When it does come up, it is actually resisted. So it's just all physical damage types. Simple enough. Advantage on strength checks and saves, same as before. So your melee weapon attacks and thrown weapon attacks deal plus prof damage. So basically, you hit with any melee weapon or any thrown weapon, you add your proficiency bonus to damage. That's also why the rage damage wasn't shown, because I decided, let's just make it proficiency bonus. It kind of fits with what I want. Makes it scale a bit better, and just felt right to do. Then we have Enduring Defense. So it basically does what Unarmored Defense did for you by making it where Unarmored Defense is 10 plus Dex plus Con. Though, quick side note, if your race has natural armor, you add it to Con to natural armor now. So if you're, say, a Loxodon or Lizard Folk, and you have your unarmored AC is 11 plus Dex instead, or 12 plus Dex, it's instead, hey, it's 11 or 12 plus Dex plus Con. So, voila. And then, as an additional bonus, and why it's renamed Enduring Defense, while wearing light or medium armor, you can use Constitution instead of Dexterity to determine AC. This is potentially subject to change, but the idea is you're a very tough warrior, and Con is supposed to be an important stat, so you can swap Dex and Con in terms of AC. Or you could just focus both and go with a build that has ridiculously high AC, just using con and dexterity. Heck, one of the new builds is kind of intended to do this. Second level, Reckless Attack. Yeah, it's just like whenever you take the attack action, you can choose to gain advantage on all attack rolls you make this turn, including offhand attacks, by the way. But you grant advantage to all attack rolls against you till your next turn. Same as before, pretty much. Danger Sense. Slight nerf in that it uses your reaction to get advantage. Basically to kind of make it where it's like, oh, it's, not as powerful, but it's still good. Potentially subject to change, but the idea is, you're not supposed to be as good at dodging stuff without dex proficiency, or dex save proficiency. 5th level, extra attack. Same as before, don't really need to explain that one. Fast movement. While you aren't wearing heavy armor, your movement speed is increased by 5 feet. 15th level becomes 10 feet. Instinctive Pounce. I believe this one actually changed. So, basically, it's still the way it was in Tasha's, where as part of the bonus action to rage, you move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. I believe I added the opportunity attacks, though, but that's just like, hey, here's a potential bonus. And you can also use this movement again as a bonus action when you reduce a creature to 0 HP on your turn. So basically, whenever you use... I'm actually going to add while raging. Just to specify that that's how that works. So basically, it's like it's supposed to be while you're raging. But basically, if you kill something while raging, you can trigger it again, which is what I wanted to do. Feral Instincts. You have advantage on initiative checks and can act even if you're surprised, but you must immediately rage to act on that turn. 9th level, Brutal Critical. Whenever you score a critical hit with a weapon attack, roll 1 extra damage die from your weapon. 17th level, roll 2 extra damage dice instead of 1. 11th level, Relentless Rage. Whenever you drop to 0 HP while raging, make a DC 10 con save. Only dropping to 1 HP on a success. Each time you use this feature, DC increases by +5 each time. Until you finish a long rest, of course. 13th level, Savage Critical. While raging, your weapon attacks can score a critical hit on a roll 1 lower than normal. So 19 to 20, basically. The idea behind this was to make it where Brutal Critical could trigger more consistently, rather than just have like, oh, if you manage to get lucky and critically hit, you get this awesome bonus. Now it's just like, oh, hey, not only do you get this extra damage, but you're more likely to trigger it now instead. So basically this should actually help a lot more than having 3 extra dice from Brutal Critical. So there you go. 15th level, Persistent Rage. No longer ends when you don't attack and haven't been damaged. Also, lasts 10 minutes instead of 1 minute. Basically just a simple upgrade that kind of fits with it. Like, simple tweak. Not much, but it's there. 18th level, Indomitable Might. When you make a strength check, you can choose to replace the roll with your strength score. Same as it was before. 20th level, Primal Champion. All your weapon attacks can hit a score a critical hit on a roll 1 lower than normal. Do note, this stacks with Savage Critical, so while you aren't raging, it's now 19 to 20 by default, and while raging, it becomes 18 to 20. You also deal plus prof damage with all weapon attacks. And once again, this stacks with your raging bonus, so it's basically like you add expertise to weapon damage while raging, and you have an infinite raise uses. So yeah, basically removed the strength and con bonuses because I really wasn't a fan of that. Like, oh, these two stats increase a bunch to beyond what they normally could be. And it kind of pushed away the idea of having dex builds, which you weren't supposed to have in the first place, but it was technically there. But here was another way of saying, hey, you know, you're not just about strength. You can be a dex barbarian, which is going to tie into the new archetype or primal path that they get, which we'll see in a bit. But first, let's start at the beginning with Path of the Berserker, which has been changed a bit, actually. So, level 1 features are Frenzy and Improvised Mastery. 3rd level, Vicious Blows, a new one. 6th level, Mindless Rage. 10th level, Intimidating Presence is back. 14th is Retaliation. 20th, True Frenzy. So, let's begin with Frenzy. So, while raging, you can use a bonus action to either make 1 normal weapon attack or 2 offhand attacks. Basically, this was just to add integration to Frenzy doing, working with dual wielding, and make Frenzy actually work. First level, you also have Improvised Mastery, which you're proficient with unarmed strikes and improvised weapons, and you treat their damage dice as 1 higher, so 1 becomes D4, D4 to D6, D8 to D10. So, simple enough. And it's just there to be there. Like, didn't really have anything else I felt was appropriate, so instead I'm like, you know what, I'll let you have fun and use whatever weapons you want as a Berserker. So, we then also have Vicious Blows at 3rd level. So basically, as a quick side note, all Barbarian paths are going to have, at 3rd level, a feature that gives you D6 plus half level damage of some type on a saving throw. So for Vicious Blows on Berserker, once per round when you hit with a weapon attack while raging, force the target to make a con save. DC is 8 plus proficiency bonus plus your strength or dexterity, or take D6 plus barbarian level, bleed, or force damage. So, bleed damage is here. So against other barbarians, you're just going to do force damage because bleed is not as effective, but basically, you get a physical or non-physical damage choice, both of which kind of made sense thematically. And another thing is that most of them are going to have 2 choices of damage type. So for Berserker, it's bleed or force. They don't all necessarily work the same way, but it is going to be once per round, do this. So, 6th level, Mindless Rage. It just works as it does before. Can't be charmed or frightened, and if you begin your turn charmed or frightened, even if you can't normally act, you can immediately rage to escape it. So, simple enough. 10th level, Intimidating Presence, is now a bonus action, and it's a whiz save. DC is 8 plus prof plus charisma, or be frightened of you till the end of your next turn. Similar to what it was before, but it is what it is. Actually, I'm going to change that. To passive intimidation. Change it up a bit. So basically, this now works with passive intimidation, so unless they beat your passive intimidation, they are sent away, basically. Retaliation. Whenever you're damaged by an attack from a creature in your weapon's reach/range while raging, you can use a reaction to make a weapon attack against them. So, same as it was, I think, actually. Though, except it also works with ranged weapons and reach. 20th level, True Frenzy. Start a turn while raging. You have at least 1 HP. You regain con HP. And you don't add it if it's negative, of course. Change that to 1+ con. So basically, it's in some ways a better survivor, where every turn you regain 1+ con HP, even if you're not bloodied, which is below half health. So let's get subject to change, but the idea is you're just constantly regenerating HP. Path of the Totem Warrior. So, quick aside on this one. The extra totems do not appear. Only the default 3 show up here. So if it was in Sword Coast, that Totem Spirit does not appear here. So you won't see tiger or deer or elk. Those 2 totems do not show up. So these are just going to be the default 3. So first level, Spirit Speaker and Totem Spirit. 3rd level, Spirit Strike. 6th level, Aspect of the Beast. 10th, Spirit Walker. 14th, Totemic Attunement. And 20th, Spirit's Gift. So Spirit Speaker. You can cast Beast Sense and speak with animals as rituals. And keep in mind, you do get Beast Sense at this level, which technically you shouldn't get it, but honestly, that spell is so bad that it's not like you're going to use it anyway, right? Let's be honest. You weren't using it anyway, so who cares? Then you also have Totem Spirits, 1st level, which, same as it was before, pretty much. Bear Totem, resistance to all non-psychic damage. And also, it doesn't specify while raging on these, but it's just like you gain the listed bonus while raging on this. Eagle Totem. Opportunity attacks have disadvantage against you, and you can dash as a bonus action. Wolf Totem. Allies have advantage on attack rolls against creatures in 5 feet of you. 3rd level with Spirit Strike. Once per round when you take the attack action on your turn. Cause an enemy in Prof times 5 feet to make a Dex save. DC is 8 plus Prof plus Wiz. Or take D6 plus half Barbarian level Force or Psychic damage. Half damage on a successful save if the creature wasn't targeted by one of the attacks of that action. So basically, by default, you know, when you first get this and you attack a creature, if you target another creature with Spirit Strike, you deal half damage on a still deal half damage on a successful save, in full damage on a fail. Whereas with the extra attack, it's like, oh, you attack 2 enemies. If neither of those is the target of Spirit Strike, then deal half damage on a failed save or successful save. Still. But if you attacked one enemy with both attacks and then also target it with Spirit Strike, then it's all or nothing. And that's just a way of saying, hey, don't attack the same target. It's more reliable. So if you want to multi-target, it's more reliable, just in case. But if you're single targeting, it's already reliable innately, so there you go. Aspect of the Beast at 6th level. Choose a Totem Spirit, gain listed bonus at all times. Bear, same as before, carrying capacity is doubled, and always have advantage on strength checks to pull, push, lift, and break stuff. So we're just going to do that. So basically, like, using strength to the raw strength stuff, you have advantage on those checks at all times. Eagle Totem. Accurately see things from up to a mile away as if they're only 100 feet away. And ignore the long-range penalties for ranged weapons, and dim light doesn't impose disadvantage on investigation and perception checks. So basically, you can use thrown weapons more effectively with this and see further away. Then there's Wolf Totem. You can track creatures at a fast pace and move stealthily at a normal pace. I'm actually going to increase that range to prof times 10, because why not? Wolf Totem, same as before. Track fast pace, move stealthily at normal pace. Up to 7 other creatures can gain this benefit while traveling with you. Spirit Walker, cast Communion with Nature as a ritual. 14th level, Totemic Attunement. Choose a Totem Spirit again. Gain the listed bonus while raging. Bear Totem. Basically, it's the same thing. Enemies can't have disadvantage on attacks that aren't against you, but it's now in 10 feet. Just, add some utility to it. Reach. Eagle Totem. Have flying speed equal to your walking speed, but you must land at the end of the movement or fall to the ground. Simple enough. Wolf Totem. Once per round, whenever you hit a creature no more than one size larger than you with a weapon attack, you can choose to knock them prone. 2 slight changes. First off, the wording is changed to be to make sense with if you have different sizes. So if you are halfling or gnome or whatever, this is worse. But you also don't need a bonus action, because it's just why? Why would you want that as a bonus action? It's stupid. 20th level, Spirit's Gift. So, while raging, once per time you rage, you can use one of these abilities, and you have a total uses per day equal to your Wisdom modifier. So, Wiz times per day while raging is what it says. And once per rage, too. So, we have the Bear Totem, which is, as a bonus action, regain half your HP. Eagle Totem, as a bonus action, pull each creature of your choice in 30 feet, 15 feet towards you. Wolf Totem, last but not least, as a standard action, you can make up to whiz weapon attacks from both you and your ally spaces, only making 1 attack per ally. So basically, if you have 5 allies and plus 5 whiz, you can make an attack from each ally space, regardless of range. And keep in mind, this lets you use melee weapon attacks at a distance, or thrown weapon attacks from behind cover. Kind of a complicated ability, like, in rules, but simple enough to explain, where it's like, hey, just make an attack from all your ally spaces. The max of plus of whiz attacks. So, like, in a 4-player party, it's slightly worse, but in a 5-player party, that's when you reach the limits, pretty much. So it should be a fun ability. And all of them have their utility and uses. Some subject to change, of course, but we'll see. And now, the new one. Path of the Dervish. So, Path of the Dervish here, we got... so this is a new one, kind of intended to be a whirling tempest of destruction, basically. So, first level, you have Grace of Wind and Whirling Step. 3rd, Sweeping Wind. 6th, Wind Jump. 10th, Wind Step. 14th, Gale Strikes. 20th, Furious Wind. So Grace of Wind, proficiency, basically get an extra proficiency, which is either acrobatics, athletics, or sleight of hand. Sleight of hand's there just in case you have acrobatics and athletics for some reason. It's just sort of like a backup choice. Whirling Step. Whenever you take the attack action while raging, can move 5 feet without provoking opportunity attacks before or after the attack. So, I'm going to actually specify one of the attacks. So you can actually use it midway as well. Sweeping Wind, 3rd level. Once per round when you take the attack action or turn, cause an enemy in reach to make a dex save, DC 8 plus Prof plus dex, or take 1d6 plus half barbarian level cold or thunder damage. Half damage on a successful save if the creature wasn't targeted by one of the attacks of that action. So, similar but different to what Totem Warrior gives. Different damage types. And also, it is within reach, but otherwise it's kind of the same. 6th level, Wind Jump. As a move action, move half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks and ignoring difficult terrain. So basically you get a special move action that's just like, oh, you ignore difficult terrain and don't provoke opportunity attacks. 10th level, Wind Step. Gain expertise with acrobatics and athletics if you're proficient with them. Otherwise, gain proficiency with that skill instead. So for the most part, you're just going to get expertise. Let's be honest. You probably have both by this point. And it's just a cool utility feature to get from them. 14th level with Gale Strikes. Add +5 to your reach while raging and ignore the long range penalty of thrown weapons. You also deal +1d4 cold or thunder damage to creatures within your weapon's normal reach or range while raging. So basically, while raging, your reach is extended, but you deal more damage to creatures in the normal reach. So, kind of giving an incentive to keep close, but it's there. You'd still have that extra reach. Furious Wind. Whenever you damage a creature for the first time each turn while raging, you deal +1d12 cold or thunder damage to them. And Sweeping Wind can now target up to 2 different creatures in reach. So basically you can target 2 creatures with Sweeping Wind instead of 1. So if there's 2 enemies, you can do both, or just do 1 against a single enemy. Also, keep in mind with how the damage bonus works, it's for each individual target, but is not weapon attacks. So, you can actually get an extra 4d12 damage from this if you do the 2 attacks from attack action, plus 2 with Sweeping Wind, all targeting different creatures. Each one takes the additional d12. So, and if you damage a creature on their turn, you also get the damage bonus. So, basically, if you have ways of doing periodic damage and such, this will work. So, I hope you all have enjoyed this video in looking at the 5.5 Barbarian. Should be an interesting class, even if it's not changed too much. The changes here should kind of be like, help them be interesting, and in the case of Berserker, make it actually playable. Because Berserker, removing the exhaustion from that, that alone helps them out a lot. And then, of course, Intimidating Presence can actually be used now, too. So, anyway, without further ado, see y'all next time. Halo Zoo out.